Hello there, Pursuing Freedom friends. Thanks for being with us today. And if you're new to the show, you came for the perfect timing. You're here just on time because we got a great show in store. And for those of you who've been listening for a while, I love you. Thanks for checking it out again and being here as a loyal listener. You guys are going to love this conversation we're about to have with Marques Ogden. Marques is a former NFL player turned inspirational speaker. He's an author. He's a coach. He's host of the podcast, Get Authentic with Marques. He's written The Success Cycle and Sleepless Nights, and he's on a mission through his own experience of highs and lows, which we're going to unpack here in a moment, to inspire others to really push through adversity and reach your personal and professional goals. And he and I connected a couple months ago through a mutual friend, and just in a very short amount of time, I was like, we got to pump the brakes right here because I want to get you on the show and record this conversation because he is a barrel of energy, a bright light, and truly just an inspiration. And I love his story. So I'm really, really grateful that Marques has found the time in his busy schedule to join us here on the Pursuing Freedom podcast. So with no further ado, Marques, I would love for you to introduce yourself to our audience and share a little bit about the backstory, because I know that you, as well as me and so many others, have had your journey through rock bottom and pushing through and overcoming, and I just want to hear all of it. So thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks so much for having me, Erin. So my name is Marques Ogden. I'm from Washington, D.C. I now live in a little bitty town called Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina. I am divorced. I'm a father of two. I have a 20-year-old who is a junior at NYU studying nursing, and I have a 10-year-old. And I am a national, international keynote speaker, business coach, corporate consultant, brand ambassador, business owner, podcast host, and I'm a former NFL athlete. And so we've been speaking for the last, about 11 and a half years. We've been very fortunate, in the last, I'll say 8 years, we've worked for over 70 Fortune 500 companies as a speaker, a lot in real estate or mortgages, tech, finance, and insurance. We also do education, not-for-profit, sports, things like that. But we get hired most, Erin, for those 5. So we've been doing this now, like I said, 11 and a half years, 8 years going strong from our first paid job in April 2016. And here we are now, just doing great shows like yours and spreading the word. We also are launching a mindset community. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. We're having people like Scott Page from Pink Floyd is a contributor. Bob Berg, who wrote the Go-Giver series, is going to be a contributor. My good friend Ed Lattimore, former heavyweight boxer, has a degree in physics, so he's going to be a contributor. And so we're all about just helping people move forward and collaborate in the right regard.
Awesome. So tell us the backstory. How did you get to where you are today, so passionate about sharing this message?
So I was in the NFL. I got drafted out of Howard University to the National Football League by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And when I do keynote speeches, which we're so grateful clients hire us to do that for the organization, I talk a lot about what Jack Del Rio, who was my rookie head coach, said to us when I was a 22-year-old rookie. You have to be your own CEO. Jack said, if you're waiting for me to tell you what to do, where to go, where to be, all these different things, you're never going to hit full potential, because all you're doing in reality is waiting for me to tell you how to do your job or how to be the best at your job or even better. It's interesting, right, Erin? I went to, Jaguar Legend Weekend a couple weekends ago, and I saw a guy that I actually played in NFL Europe with. He has been the strength coach of the Jaguars for the last 13 years and counting. And he's a perfect fit for that job. His name is Cedric Scott. He played NFL, D-line, Cleveland, a couple other teams. But Cedric embodied what Coach Del Rio talked about. Again, be your own CEO. So from there, I had almost a 6-year NFL career, got out of the National Football League. I struggled immensely, Erin, with addiction, nightlife, gambling, what to do next. I had no real plan. And thank goodness, I finally found a Caden Premier Enterprises, which became the largest African-American owned subcontracting company in the city of Baltimore and the state of Maryland for 2 years in site work, concrete, demo, site work, earthwork, sediment and erosion control. We did it all. But unfortunately, right, Erin, as the company grew, my ego did. And one of the things I love, and I tell people to have great leadership and the right mindset, embrace dynamic subordination, which means allow people to lead that are really fit to lead, and remove your ego and basically, Erin, quote unquote, get the hell out of the way. And unfortunately, I did not do that with Caden. I became very self-centered on more money, more money, more money, more fame, more cars, more this, more that, things that didn't matter. And as a result of living my life like that, it ended up costing me everything in 2013 because I lost my best people. And then I had a job where I spent about $3 million over budget, go bad. I finished all the work. I did not get paid back by the developer and contractor. And I was told, Erin, 2 days before Christmas, 2 days before Christmas in 2012, I was told the bank was going to shut off our line, calling the loans, shutting down the equipment line. Boom. That was it. And that next year, that January of 2013, they were going to come after everything that I owned to try to get their money back. And so that was the beginning of knowing that my life at that time was about to end in that chapter. And I picked up and I left like a thief in the night. And I got down to Raleigh. I had 177 creditors to my docket. 177. And my bankruptcy attorney, who I saw probably a couple of years, about 18 months ago when I bought my house, I had to go and see him, get paperwork for my new home. He said, Marques, still to this day, you were the individual we served with the most creditors on your docket. Most. Wow. And he said, I'm so glad to see you doing well now. But anyway, got to Raleigh. I was so broke, Erin, I couldn't even file my bankruptcy. It cost me $3,300, and I got to Raleigh with $400 to my name, fired, from I lost my company, my home, my cars, everything. Got here, had a job, but wasn't going to make the rent. So luckily, the NFL paid my bills for 4 months through the Gene Upshaw Trust Fund. And that kept me from going homeless. But while I was going through that, I got fired from 2 jobs in the same week. And as a result of that, I had to work as a custodian in downtown Raleigh, plus try to set up a little football training business. And I was doing okay, but then again, I had not hit rock bottom yet. And so I finally hit rock bottom September 2013, working my job as a custodian, when I had my spoiled milk, rotten, nasty meat, because at that time, everything in my life was rotten, including me. And I just had no accountability, no responsibility, no ownership. So I was really getting what I deserved, but I was too blind to see that I was the person that put me there. Finally, I saw it after that spoiled milk moment, when all that trash got all over me. And I said, wow, if I don't get off this curb, right, Erin, I'm going to be here for the rest of my life. And at that moment, I said, I want to start speaking to help people. That was September 2013. Didn't get a paid job until April 2016. Got coached, got developed. I got coached by Mel Robbins as a mentor of mine. I was in her book, Kick Ass with Mel, in 2019. I was in her audio book. And after that, I went to a program at Penn State called NAPSA, National Athletic Professional Success Academy. Between NAPSA and Mel Robbins, I turned my life around and I started to speak, started doing more, and now here we are. But again, Erin, as that was happening, things are going well. Unfortunately, I got divorced 2.5 years ago. Had to start over again. Moved into an apartment down in Blue, got my mindset together, started to rely on my attributes, not just my skills. And then I turned my thinking around. And then I was able to buy my dream home May of 2023. And I've been here ever since. Business is going well. I've got my life back. As you can see, Erin, I've been up, down, all around. I've made millions of dollars, I've made $8.25 an hour. I've been on top of the world. I've been at the bottom, scraping just to get by. And that's a little bit about me and who I am and how I got to where I am.
Okay, there's so much good stuff to unpack here. I've just taken a page of notes, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to reel it in with my questions because there's so many different directions we can go here. Talk to me a little bit about the turning point when you found yourself at your version of rock bottom, because a lot of people listening have been struggling, really. I mean, the real estate market, as we're recording this in October, there's been a lot of uncertainty. There still is a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of self-doubt. There's a lot of people that were riding high in 2020, 2021, and it started to decline, and they're experiencing the need to redefine their identity. You talked earlier about how that version of me essentially was, coming to an end. And there's something that we talked about on the show before about this idea of death and birth again and again and again in our lives. And it's the death of an identity that we were tied to as we make space to emerge as our new fullest potential. And I just think that it'd be great to hear how you found your way through the darkness to the new lighter version of you that's exploring this new impact you're having on the world.
I'll tell your audience this, and especially if you are in real estate, because and mortgages, there's so many people in your space. So many people are trying to get the next deal, and you're right, Erin? It's very uncertain times in real estate and mortgages, and it's tough. I have clients in both. I have a lot of coaching clients in real estate. Some areas are doing better than others, right? Some areas are doing terrible all around. But again, I tell our clients, I'm going to tell your audience the same thing. Lean into your attributes over your skills. Attributes are things you are born with, like grit, perseverance, adaptability. Again, yes, you are born with those things, right? I can tell you all day, right, Erin, if you're struggling, have a small bad day for yourself, a little pity day, next day, get up, go after it. And I can tell you that, but I can't make you do it, right? I can't turn the switch on for you and say, be more determined, be more disciplined. I mean, Erin, how many people know, go to the gym to look good, or work? How many people know that? Everybody. How many people do it? Not a whole lot. Why? Because it takes effort. It takes time. And again, right, Erin, 5 days a week I lift. 4 hard, 1 auxiliary. I run 4 days, core 4 days. Today was my off day, and I did boxing for half an hour with my trainer, right? It's the discipline, right? You can make all the excuses in the world, but you gotta lean into your attributes. Again, I can't make you more disciplined, right? I can't make you a hard worker. I can't make you a go-getter. It's not gonna happen. Now, skills, I can teach you how to be a better speaker. I can't teach you how to do a podcast. I can't teach you how to sell real estate, do mortgages. But here's the thing. If your attributes are not strong, your skills won't shine at their brightest. Because at some point, you will lack the confidence, the belief in yourself to do what you need to do. And when that happens, it's over. So if you're listening to this, lean into your attributes, right? And here's the thing. If you don't really have it, I'm going to challenge you. Take a day and soul search and say, okay, how can I find this, right? It's in here somewhere. I got to pull it out. I mean, Erin, that's the only way I could go from an NFL athlete who struggled with addiction, painkillers, all type of opioids, hydrocodone, Vicodin, Percocet, you name it, I took it, right? I don't do it anymore. I haven't taken a painkiller in 17 years, right? I had to change. Lost my business, came to Raleigh, $4 to my name, rebuilt myself, right? Had to change. Filed for a divorce, 2022, sitting there in an apartment. I had 2 weeks, Erin, to get out. after I filed, 2 weeks after we went to the mediator, found a crappy apartment. I was down for about 2 weeks. I'm sorry, for about 2.5 months. I had the relationship with my spouse had ended. We were together 10 years. I took 2.5 months. I did my job and everything, but I was not the best Marques, right? At that moment in January 2023, I leaned into my attributes, who I am, what makes me me, turned my life around, bought my dream home. What was that, 3 months later? Business is booming. So if you're listening to this, to get through a challenging time, you have to lean into your attributes, right? And listen to this. Skills can be taught. Attributes like grit, tenacity, perseverance, adaptability are key for your long-term success.
Awesome. So a huge piece of this, right, is that you talk about how you went through your challenges and, they broke you temporarily. And that's the key piece, is that it's temporary. And I think everything is temporary. The idea this too shall pass applies to the good and the bad sometimes. And this is not necessarily ever going to be a straight line. I think we learn from the challenges that we navigate. But there's also this mindset piece, right? How our thoughts can control us. And when you're knocked down and your thoughts start getting loud, like, I can't, and I have to, and what if it doesn't work, and what if I fail, and why did I get here? And then the condemnation, right? The condemnation of like, how did I get here again? How did I find myself here again? What does it look like for you? I heard this quote by Albert Einstein just this morning, actually, that said, you can't solve your problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. So there is this, almost like an unbecoming in order to make space for what you're becoming. Talk me through, the coaches, the support you had, and the things that you learned to shift from the inside out, because I do believe it's an inside game as much as it's an outside game.
Your heart and your mind have to be aligned to move mountains. If they're not aligned, you're done. And so for me, my mind knew I could do it, but my heart didn't believe it. And so when I got to Mel Robbins and she told me that motivation is garbage and I gotta inspire people with my words and action steps, that turned the light bulb on. But what really, really elevated our brand was going to NAPSA with Brad Mitchell and that 5-day intensive program at Penn State. It got me thinking how to use my skill sets from football, my knowledge of the game, my terminology of the game, and how to speak the corporate lingo and or dialogue. And once I could connect with people in a way that they could understand, we call that sense making. Once I was able to get that under control and utilize it to move forward, Erin, that's when things started to get better, because I could talk to people, they could trust me, they could know what I was saying was accurate, they could know what I was saying was going to bring value. And once they knew that, it was all about, well, okay, what's your price point? If the value you're going to provide us is greater than the price point, we'll pay. And that's why I tell our clients, right? Doing great podcasts like this is everything, right? We have a podcast, marketing yourself. If nobody knows about you, right, Erin, how can you get full potential value? Let's take Taylor Swift, for example, right? Taylor Swift dominates all forms of marketing. Literally, I'm on the plane going to Destin, Florida. I have people saying, I see people wearing our favorite Taylor Swift era sweatshirts. Like our favorite Taylor Swift era. How old is this girl? What? I mean, early 30s? I mean, she's amazing, but era, she's in her early 30s. Come on, man. But the thing is, people love her. And again, she's very talented. I mean, she is a talented singer, musician, guitar, I mean, you name it. She's worked hard for all that she has. But the money she's making is because people know her and she can charge whatever she wants. Because if you're going to give her $100 million, you're going to get back probably 150 in providing, like you have an event. She wants, okay, I want 25 million. Okay, here you go, Taylor. Who will probably make 40 or 50. right? So people don't even question her price anymore because they know the value she will bring will far exceed that. So it's all about this in that regard. Is once I learned how to bring the value, at that point, price became a moot point.
So let me ask you, I know I've seen you, ironically, after we connected, of course, and I was stalking you a little bit online, and I saw that you were the keynote speaker for the company I used to work for nearly 2 decades in the mortgage space. What are you finding that the mortgage companies and real estate companies are craving in terms of messaging from the stage right now for their team members who are, many of whom are probably listening right now?
Mindset. How to thrive in challenging times. Erin, this is being recorded late October. The election is right around the corner, right? Everyone is paying attention. It is an absolute circus when it comes to that. And what does that do? It creates issues. It creates challenges. People don't want to spend money. Well, I don't know who's going to win. Right? So that's an issue. We have war going on, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Iran, all these things that are happening. And people, when war happens or craziness happens, what happens? People stop spending. So right now, businesses are looking for anyone to help people to tap into their mindset. Because mindset, Erin, is 95% of the battle. 5% is some luck, who knows you, chance, opportunity. But if you don't have the mindset, you're done. I spoke in Vegas for Insure Tech Connect, where insurance and technology meet. We were the opening keynote speaker for their ITC agents event. People loved our talk because I was talking about how to tap into attributes, how to be a leader that is innovative, that is good at sense making, that can relate to people, that can create a vision, right? How to really focus, lock in, attack, what to look for in the market. If it's a market that's saturated, what's your niche? Again, or hey, what do you believe in? Who are you targeting? Why you? So all these things are critical. But again, if you don't have the mindset to withstand a hard time, you will fold. It's some point. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
I love that you shared this. I have to tell you the funniest story, Marques, is that I was talking with the owner of a company about providing some support and some coaching for the team members in their organization, a big national organization. And he actually said to me, they don't need any of this mindset stuff. They just need you to tell them what to do and then make them feel like shit for not doing it. And I was like, well, that's probably not going to work out. I could not disagree more, meaning I cannot agree more with what you're saying. So, okay, let's talk about this though, because I really appreciate the vulnerability and the transparency around your journey, what you've navigated, highs and lows, because it shows the listeners that even when we're viewing someone who we perceive to be on top, or we look at someone whose life represents the life we desire for ourselves, we're looking at somebody on chapter 10 and we never know what transpired between chapter 1 and chapter 10. So with that being said, it feels sometimes to the listeners easier said than done for this person on chapter 10 to talk about mindset. But I know that there's tools that we can deploy to improve our mindset when we find ourselves in the darkness. I'm curious, what are some of the steps that you've taken in your own journey and that you help your coaching clients with when their mindset is in the dumps and that's based on external circumstances? How do you help them reset that inside game?
The number one thing that causes your mindset to go into the dumps are challenges, hard times, right? And what you want to do in order to get through those, you want to move your horizons. What we mean by that is you need to look at challenges and break them down into small action steps to then get the results you desire. When people see challenges and they get overwhelmed, right, Erin? Stress comes in. You lose momentum. You're not focusing on doing the things you can't most times, right? Especially if it's a huge challenge. Very rarely, if ever, can you solve it in a day or right away. It's just not, that's not what like, everybody can solve a quick little issue, but a real challenge, for example, Aaron, somebody tried to move, not tried, someone moved our podcast from one platform to another. And they end up breaking all of the RSS feed links on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, you name it. That was a challenge. And I was like, okay, what do I say? What do I tell my clients? All right, action steps. First thing, call my producers, who are my guys. They didn't do it. Someone else did. Call my producer. Call Ben. Call Dennis. We got a plan together. Okay, Marques, we're going to first things first. We're going to get a new RSS feed. Check. Next, we're going to get with your person from the person who got on Apple. Hopefully get them to take the new RSS feed, put it onto the Apple link podcast. Boom, get back on Apple. Got that done. Check. Okay, go over to Spotify, go through that. We're almost done with that. This was 3 weeks ago, right? Because there was a lot of different things going back and forth, all right? We're going to then take your new RSS feed. We're going to put it on our platform, our network, so this never happens again. Check. So when that huge challenge came about 3 weeks ago, I said, what's first things first? Call production team, Ben Dennis. Boom. Get a plan. Boom. New RSS feed. Apple. Boom. Get it moved over. Boom. Spotify. We're working through it. Almost done. Now, if I would have said, oh my God, my podcast, it's on a new platform. I'm not on Apple anymore. I'm not on Spotify anymore. What do I do? I'd still be saying the same thing. What do I do? What do I do? To say, okay, well, what are you going to do? ... And it took time, but we got it done. Again, about 98%. Once we're on Spotify, we're fine, which is whatever, it'll come. But that's what I'm hoping that your listeners gain, is that when a challenge comes up, right, which is going to affect our mindset, don't look at the whole challenge big picture. Look at what can you do today, tomorrow, to get that challenge resolved. If you just get overwhelmed, stressed out from the challenge, oh yeah, nothing will ever get done, because you'll be so paralyzed by fear, you don't even know where to begin.
Yeah, I could not agree more. And there's so many famous quotes out there about this. Like Steve Jobs said, you can't connect all the dots looking forward, just take action and then you'll connect the dots looking back. And Martin Luther King said, you don't need to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. And the fact is, sometimes if you're in a really low place, you just have to do one small thing, just one small thing, and then celebrate it. You did that. And then do one more small thing and celebrate you did that. And now you're creating positive momentum, which if you focus on those wins, you're starting to feel the shift within, right? From the doom to the opportunity. And yeah, I love that. And I also love that you said, I asked myself, what would I tell my coaching clients to do? Because so many coaches can admit that we don't always take our own advice. And sometimes that's why I always have a coach, like I'm never without a coach to help me see my own blind spots, because as human beings, this stuff, this inside game, what we navigate as humans is normal, it's natural. And sometimes it requires an outside perspective to see that light within us. And I know that you guys are launching a community in the coming months. And I'd love for you to share a little bit about the inner game community, because I think it's really powerful that you're creating space for people to find the support to improve the inner game, because it truly is everything. So tell us a little bit about that.
So we are forming a mindset community, and the website is going to be innergamecommunity.com, INNER gamecommunity.com. We're bringing in some phenomenal contributors, people like Bob Berg, who wrote the Go Giver series, Scott Page, one of the members of the legendary rock band Pink Floyd, to Ant Lattimore, who is a former heavyweight boxer who has his degree in physics. And we're creating a community where people can rely on each other, play off each other, feed off each other around mindset. Then whoever told you that guy from the company said, oh, tell them what they're doing wrong and they all you're doing is creating toxicity, self-doubt, and negative thinking. And all you're going to do is get people scared to come to work, do their job, and they're going to end up leaving you and trying to find another job because they can't take the pressure. That's the Marques Ogden of 2012 attitude. And that's how I lost everything. So this community, right, Erin, is about people that contribute. People are going to come and get interviewed about their life, what they're doing to really help our community get fired up, get inspired, get reinvigorated about having the right mindset. Again, challenges are going to come all day, every day. Again, same thing with us, and with our podcast, our follow, we were having some trouble with our tool that we were using to send out for automation. Wasn't doing it right. Didn't put the tabs in stuff, all this stuff. Okay, what do? We go back to the beginning. Call Jazz on my team. We got to work this out. Right before I came on this awesome podcast, I sent out 20 follow-up emails, the same one, copy, paste, It took me half an hour. I didn't want to do that, but within 5 minutes, I already got 5 responses. People want to have meetings, right? So again, challenges are going to arise. Break it into small action steps. We all have skills that we've developed and or have been taught. But if what's inside of us is not strong, what's on the outside of us will eventually fade away. And learn to get out of your own way and get your ego out of the picture. And if others can do the job better than you, allow them to do so. Right? And if you say you're a coach, you have coaches. We talk about maybe you working with you on growing your podcast and monetizing and helping more people. We've done it. I can tell you right now, Erin, the house that I live in, the lifestyle I live, this awesome dog that I have, without the podcast, we would not be where we're at. So again, we've done very well with that. We help people like you who have an awesome product to get to the next level. I have a coach. My partner, Victor, for our community, our mindset community, is always coaching me on how to do videos better. You've been seeing those, Erin, little shorts. How to do videos better, how to have the hook, how to pull people in, how to be concise, what to say. And I say, Vic, whatever you say, I'm going to get coached up. I'm going to do it. And that's the difference, right? You can either, I'm going to tell you guys exactly what Coach Dario told me when I was a rookie. You can either make the Jacksonville Jaguars as a rookie, or you can make excuses. You can't have both.
Love it. I love it. Drop the mic on that. So I want to honor your time here, Marques. And if folks want to follow you, find you, get a hold of you, where are all the other platforms that you're out there responding?
They can go to our app. We have the Marques Ogden app on your Apple or your Android phone. Go to your app store, type in MARQUES OGDEN. It'll pop straight up. You can go in there. You can engage with us. You can check out our podcast. You can check out our website. You can get connected with us. We have free exclusive content on there. You can go all kinds of ways. So we have that. You can also shoot me an email, marques@marquesogden.com, or you can send us over go to our website, www.marquesogden.com.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to share all your wisdom and inspiration. It's been amazing.
Thanks so much, Erin.
To all my friends out there listening, as always, I invite you to share this podcast with anyone you feel needs this kind of message. And also reach out on Instagram at Pursuing Freedom Official. Let me know if there's any takeaways, anything you're going to implement in your life. I always love hearing from the listeners. It lights my life up to hear from you. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And we'll see you next time.